Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off with news from Venezuela, but it pertains to Trinidad. It's still pertaining to local news to an extent. Crowds of Venezuelans have taken to the streets of Caracas and other Venezuelan states to denounce Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Vicesa following the Venezuelan government's declaration of her as a persona non grata and the suspension of all gas agreements with TNT. Organized by the ruling United Socialist Party of Venezuela, the demonstrations targeted Persad-Vicesa over her government's alignment with the United States, including her welcoming of U.S. forces in Caribbean waters and recent docking of the U.S.-guided missile destroyer USS Gravely in the capital city of Port-au-Prince. Just imagine we are living in a time when aligning yourself with the most powerful democracy in the world is now considered to be evil, and fighting against crime and narco-terrorism, drug trafficking, human trafficking is now considered wrong, and they're describing these individuals as fishermen. In Caracas on Monday, pro-government citizens walked through the streets holding placards featuring a disfigured Persad-Vicesa, or distorted, in other words, images of Persad-Vicesa with horns and spiked ears, defaced or labeled a criminal, were posted from demonstrations across social media. My response: it isn't surprising to see the Syrian media here in Trinidad and Tobago boldly supporting Maduro's communist regime and his propaganda messages instead of defending our democratically elected Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Vicesa and our most powerful ally, the USA. I honestly wish that all Syrian and Lebanese elites will leave our country and return to their forefathers' homeland or homelands, Lebanon and Syria. Because at the end of the day, people say, why am I saying that the 1% media is supporting Venezuela? They continue on a daily basis. Most of the news information right now online is pertaining to what is taking place in Venezuela. It's best you rename CNC3 and TV6 and Express Venezuela News, because we are barely getting any sort of coverage about pertaining to news in Trinidad and Tobago. But you see, the Syrian-controlled media is trying their best to convince Kamala Persad-Vicesa to change her opinion. I'm telling you, we are living in very dangerous and evil times. Sleep better. Say goodbye to stiff necks, headaches, and restless nights. Our premium cervical pillow is designed to perfectly support your neck and spine, keeping your body aligned while you sleep. Soft yet firm, it adapts to your shape, giving you ultimate comfort and deep, rejuvenating rest. Whether you sleep on your back, side, or stomach, this pillow reduces pressure points, eases tension, and helps you wake up feeling refreshed and ready to conquer the day. Invest in your sleep. Your neck will thank you. WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order and feel the difference from the very first night. Now look at the audacity of Maduro and his entire regime. After now reporting about what took place there, a state-funded protest insulting our Prime Minister and also basically banning her from entering your country a couple of days ago, ending or terminating the Dragon gas deal, at least for now. And yet, listen to this next news report. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro on Wednesday called Trinidad and Tobago citizens to prevent the United States from starting a war in the Caribbean. In other words, he wants us, we the people, to turn against our own Prime Minister. and probably still trying to convince the Prime Minister or bully the Prime Minister into submission. The message has been received. We have sent the people of Trinidad and Tobago the message that we are brothers, but you're insulting us and threatening over and again to annex our country. Now, let us unite for peace. Do not allow the Americans to start a war in the Caribbean. My response, you insulted our Prime Minister a couple of days ago, and now you're asking for peace? These are the actions of a narcissist and bully. Abusive partners, mostly men we know, it has abusive women of course, usually behave in likewise manner. After assaulting and mentally abusing their wives, these type of men attempt to convince the women that it's the woman who caused them to commit such acts of violence, and also pleads with her to remain in the so-called loving and peaceful relationship. That's what you call a toxic relationship, an abusive relationship. And sadly, I'm not straying from the point actually, sadly, a lot of people tend to remain and believe those lies, believe that he really loves me and he just loves me really hard. You know, the old people love to say that, he loves you hard. Well, right. So that's exactly what the Venezuelan government is trying to tell Trinidadians right now. We are a zone of peace, you know, even though the Maduro regime has been trying to annex half of Guyana, the entire Essequibo region for many years now, and also continues to make false allegations against our government and our people, stating just up to recently that we are trying to participate in an insurrection against his government in Venezuela, and saying that he will go anywhere to apprehend these so-called insurrectionists. That's not an individual who wants to seek peace, my dear fellow Trinidadians. Ladies, meet your new go-to bag, our mega duffel handbag, perfect for your travel, shopping, the gym, and everything in between. Crafted from premium Oxford material, it's not just stylish, it's built to last. The ideal size, flawless design, and unbeatable quality make it the bag you'll reach for every time. Versatile and ready for anything. WhatsApp 762-6589 to order yours today. The steel pan industry has long centered itself on its music, with less attention given to manufacturing. Now, with a new pan and manufacturing association formed just 6 months ago, comprising various steel pan experts, it is working to shift that focus. The recently installed board of the Steel Pan Manufacturers Association of Trinidad and Tobago is already making strides to unlock the full potential of the global steel pan manufacturing industry, gaining momentum by addressing key challenges in the sector and advancing this multi-billion-dollar industry. Chairman of the association, Michael Cooper, believes that local industry holds promise for driving proprietary innovation and delivering broad socio-economic benefits. Well, if it really does, if it can generate billions of dollars in revenue, that is really wonderful news.
The recently installed board of the Steel Pan Manufacturers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, SMAT, is already making strides to unlock the full potential of the global steel pan manufacturing industry, gaining momentum by addressing key challenges in the industry geared toward advancing this multi-billion-dollar sector. Chairman of the association, Michael Cooper, believes the local industry holds promise for driving proprietary innovation and delivering broad socio-economic benefits.
To generate high levels of employment and lucrative career paths for citizens of all backgrounds. And critically, the maximization of what is already one of the fastest growing net foreign exchange earners for our country.
Parliamentary Secretary at the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism, Dr. Colin Gosai, noted that a unified strategic approach to steel pan manufacturing could better position TNT to transform the industry, particularly in areas such as standardization and quality control. He also expressed the government's support in developing this industry.
Let SMART be the bridge between our nation's creative spirit and its manufacturing potential, ensuring that every note on Trinidad and Tobago pan be a symbol of pride, professionalism, and infinite possibility.
According to Minister of Culture and Community Development Michelle Benjamin, as proud Trinbagonians, it is our duty to respect and protect our national instrument.
It transforms the ordinary into extraordinary. And that same spirit of transformation is what we are celebrating here today through SMATT. Because just as our forefathers turned steel into song, today we are turning tradition into an industry.
The association's board includes respected figures from the steel pan fraternity involved in both its manufacturing and promotion, such as prominent steel pan tuner Augustus Peters and renowned soloist Adrian Jaikaran. Jason John, TTT News.
No more overheating phones. Cool your phones in seconds. Prevents damage to phones and battery issues. Better gaming experience and streaming. USB powered and fast charging. Lightweight and quiet. Ideal for kids and adults. Works with all smartphones. Makes a great gift. Call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. Moving on now to regional news, and we're starting off with Jamaica. As the magnitude of the devastation left behind by Hurricane Melissa begins to become clearer, it's obvious that Jamaica has a massive recovery project on its hands. In the west of the island, where the hurricane made landfall from the south on Monday before making a ravaging exit on the other side, people's lives have been severely upended. I continue to pray for the people of Jamaica, and definitely I hope and pray that the entire region will come together and assist these individuals into having some sort of normalcy restored into their lives. Premium touchscreen wireless headsets restocked. 1.9-inch HD full-color touchscreen. ANC and ENC noise reduction for crystal clear calls. 90 panoramic sound. Long battery life and fast charging. Control music, videos, TikTok, YouTube, and much more. Camera feature, voice assistant, timer, stopwatch, and lyrics on screen. Water resistant, sleek design. Available in gold, black, blue, and purple. Gift ready packaging with replacement earbuds included. Never lose your earbuds again with the Find Headphones feature that actually works. Don't miss out. WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order. Limited stock available. Grenada is taking urgent new steps to safeguard its national bird, the Grenada dove, one of the world's rarest doves and found nowhere else on Earth. The species now clings to survival in just 2 small pockets of dry forest, and even these are under threat from encroaching development, dumping, and invasive predators. On 8th to 9th of October, more than 50 experts gathered at St. George's University for the Grenada Dove Conservation Action Plan Stakeholder Workshop, a 2-day meeting to assess the challenges to the dove survival and determine the actions needed to save this critically endangered bird from extinction. I hope that the policies that are implemented are successful and that the national birds is saved from extinction. Tired of losing your keys, phone, or coins in that annoying gap between your car seat and the console? We've got the perfect solution. Our universal car seat gap fillers are back in stock, ready to save your stuff and make your ride clutter-free. Available in black, brown, beige, and red, they're designed to fit any car seat and blend perfectly with your interior. Simply WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order and enjoy delivery straight to your door in just 1 to 3 days. Moving on now to Guyana, the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security held another social assistance clinic on Thursday in Region 3, this time reaching communities along the west coast and east bank of Essequibo. That's the same region that Maduro wants to annex, to take away. Probation and social services officers were stationed at key locations including Windsor Forest, Leonora, Tusten, and Parika, making it easier for residents to access vital services within their catchment area. Residents were able to receive assistance with old age pension, public assistance, permanent disability support. I'm telling you, I say this so often, I'm saying it again. Guyana is an inspiration to the entire region and the world by extension under the leadership of the Irfan Ali administration. You won't be disappointed with this one. Look and feel great every day. Painless trimming with no pulling of hair guaranteed. Comfortable to hold and lightweight. Intelligent anti-pinch system. Safety travel lock. Accurate and painless trimming. Durability, 100% quality. Fast charging. To place an order, call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589. Speaking about leading by example, body cameras will soon become even more common on police officers as the government continues to bolster transparency regarding police accountability, and Minister of Home Affairs Wanridge Walrand has already noted that their use on officers is already improving crime-fighting efforts. It definitely will. The minister spoke about this during a recent airing of Starting Point and noted that the standard operating procedures make it a serious offense, listen, to delete the footage. My response: meanwhile, our Hollywood Hulk Hogan, Minister of Homeland Security here in TNT, continues to consider body cams for police officers to be a waste of taxpayers' dollars. You won't believe how much that disturbed me when I heard him make that statement about a month or so ago. I'm paraphrasing, most likely probably didn't use those exact words, but it was in that context. This man, in my opinion, I'm telling you, my fellow UNC supporters will not agree with me, but this man is a thorn in the side of the Kamala Prasad administration. Our Prime Minister needs to take appropriate action, and as soon as possible. I'm not saying not to give him some other position, but not as Minister of Homeland Security. He's not suitable for that position. A 15-year-old Annandale secondary student identified as Navindra Mahes has died after being struck down by a car driven by police corporal on Thursday. The Ministry of Home Affairs confirmed this in a statement where it pledged that the matter is being handled with the utmost seriousness and transparency. I hope that officer is charged at least with manslaughter. I'm telling you, the laws need to change there because reckless driving is done intentionally. And therefore, when people die, they should be charged with first-degree murder. Moving on now to international news, the massacre in Sudan is so massive, people. I can't even feature the picture here on my video, but nevertheless, the massacre in Sudan is so massive that you can literally see blood stains from space visible in satellite footage. The Islamist, the jihadist-led ethnic cleansing is still raging on, relentless and unpunished most of all. Where are the human rights activists? We have people like Tucker Carlson. We have people like Candace Owens. And you know, they will try to find some way to blame Israel for that. One of those jihadists in these countries that are committing these atrocities. I'm telling you, we are living in very evil times.
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. دير خلاص دير الاثنين نفرين دير البنية واللي دير غايته سبحان الله ربنا كده يعني انقسم وامه مستشهدة مسكينة يا هيديك واقع محل هنا النبي الله الأحمر ده الله يرحمه ده بيتهم يا أخي ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. دير خلاص دير الاثنين نفرين دير البنية واللي دير غايته سبحان الله ربنا كده يعني انقسم وامه مستشهدة مسكينة يا هيديك واقع محل هنا النبي الله الأحمر ده الله يرحمه ده بيتهم.
Sonia Massey's killer has officially been found guilty of her murder a little more than a year after he shot and killed her. Sean Grayson, a former sheriff's deputy in Illinois, was just found guilty of second-degree murder after a trial that lasted a little more than a week. The jury began deliberations Tuesday morning and returned the verdict Wednesday afternoon. Who am I talking about? There was a video about a year ago showing a police officer entering a home along with his colleague, and most likely the woman was probably a little mentally challenged or something like that, suffering from depression or anxiety. We don't know. But nevertheless, she did call the police officers and they responded. But while there, they began to tell her to make certain statements. And she said, "I rebuke you in Jesus' name." That's what she said, or similar to that. I could be paraphrasing again. And that is what pissed off this officer. When he heard, "I rebuke you in Jesus' name," and he said, "What?" And he started to use verbal, obscene language, sorry. And she began to respond in certain ways. And then she went, I think, to the stove or whatsoever and picked up a pot or a kettle or whatever. And he considered that a violent threat. And he said that he believed that she was going to throw the water at him. Now, all he had to do, because remember, this wasn't a firearm that she was holding, even if he assumed that she was some sort of threat to his life, or at least scare him, he just had to back off, de-escalate the situation. He didn't do that. What he did instead, shot and killed that woman. That was murder. Now, I know some of my fellow conservatives who love police officers beyond any sort of logic. They will defend him, you know. They will defend him. But I'm not that type. Same way how I am not a fanatic supporter of the UNC, I'm not a fanatic supporter of the conservative movement either, even though I am a Christian conservative. Moving on now to the interesting facts segment. The mayor who saved his village from the sea. Everyone thought he'd lost his mind for building it so tall, just like how, you know, they thought Noah had lost his mind when he was building the ark. I'm adding on that part. Then in the 1960s, Kotuku Wamura, mayor of Fordai, a small fishing village in Japan's Iwate Prefecture, had lived through two deadly tsunamis in 1896 and 1933 that killed 439 villagers. Determined to protect future generations, he ordered the construction of a 51-foot, 15.5 meter seawall and an equally tall floodgate across the main cove. It took 12 years, 1972 to 1948 to complete, and costed about $3.56 billion, US $30 million in 2011. Locals protested and said it was too expensive, it was too ugly, blocking their ocean view. Even Wamura's own officials doubted him, just like the people back in the times of Noah. He left office in 1987 and died in 1997, still criticized for his so-called wasteful project. Then came March 11th, 2011, a magnitude 9.0 earthquake. Wow. Sent a 66-foot, 20-meter tsunami racing towards Japan's coast. Nearby towns were erased people, but when Fudai's floodgates closed, they held. The wave was overtopped but stopped from flooding the town. Only one person, a fisherman, caught outside the barrier, died. Fudai survived almost untouched. Today, residents visit Wamura's grave to thank the man whose foresight saved them all. Sometimes, people, true leadership means standing alone until history proves you right. Just like what we, the People's Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, is doing right now by standing up against the Maduro regime and even CARICOM. Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe, most of all, in Jesus' name.